If you feel you are being drained inside, your energy disappears for no reason. You are not crazy. You are being disconnected from your true power. I am Laert, a specialist in seminal retention, and here at Gods of Semen, I will show you what they have never told you. Your semen is the key to restoring your vital energy, mental clarity, and your spiritual presence. What you feel like anxiety, discouragement, or lack of purpose is not weakness. It is lost energy. And recover it starts now. Seminal retention is not celibacy. It is reconnecting with his divine instinct, his mission as a man, the strength that shapes his aura, his voice, his authority. This channel is not entertainment. It is a spiritual war training. If you are tired of living in the automatic, being dominated by invisible addictions, and wants to arouse the most powerful, disciplined, and focused version of yourself, you are in the right place. Tighten the belt, because what comes in the next few minutes will activate something that was asleep in you. But first, subscribe now and activate the bell. This is not just for the algorithm. It is to ensure that you receive what will change your energy, your mind, and your life. Most men seeking spiritual strength through seminal retention do not realize that they are fighting a hidden enemy, unresolved emotional pain. This pain does not scream. She whispers in the silence of the night, in chronic procrastination, in the void after a relapse. Many think that it is only lacking discipline, when in fact it faces confrontation. Subtopic by subtopic, let's dismantle this invisible trap. Why does most men ignore silent signs of body and soul? Because we were trained to endure without feeling. From an early age, man is taught to ignore emotions, to be rational, to overcome without healing. But the body does not forget. The soul does not silence. This repression accumulates as shoulders tension, lumbar weight, and constant feeling of tiredness, even after sleeping. They are spiritual symptoms, not just physical. Silent alerts that your energy is being slowly sucked because you have moved away from yourself. Lumbar pain, tension in the neck, and inexplicable tiredness are the first reflexes of seminal emotional drainage. Sexual energy, when not transmuted, begins to fade through the open gaps in its vibrational field. Masturbation is no longer just a physical act and becomes an unconscious ritual of accumulated pain flow. You are not just relieving yourself, you are weakening. Each poorly resolved relapse leaves a trail in the body. Localized pain, loss of postural firmness, muscle oppression, and an increasingly opaque look. Repressed emotions combined with successive relapses create a silent implosion of vital energy. The cycle is almost always the same. Frustration, relapse, guilt, and everything is repeated. This looping is fed by wounds that have not been faced, rejections, failures, ancient insecurities. Masturbation becomes emotional anesthesia. But like every anesthetic, she also numbs you, disconnects you, steals you the clarity and magnetism. You are not weak because you can't retain. You are weak because you are trying to retain without healing. The problem is not the lack of strength, it is the accumulation of ignored pain. And as long as she is there, hidden under her attempt at discipline, the vital energy will always find a gap to escape. Many men try to maintain seminal retention with brute force, without realizing that the royal enemy is not an external stimuli, but an internal pain not faced. This psychological pain, almost always hidden, is what sabots its energy, opens doors to relapse, and maintains its sexuality imprisoned. The body resists, but the wounded mind surrenders. Understanding this connection is the first step to true liberation. Carl Jung said that, "What you do not bring to conscience appears in your life as a destination." And that is exactly what happens to the man who ignores his shadow. Unused trauma, poorly resolved rejections, and emotional wounds of the past become compulsive habits. Masturbation in this context is not pleasure. It is momentary relief from an emotional weight that man does not know how to carry. And so, the silent addiction is born in pain. The more he tries to escape her, the more she pulls him to the bottom. It is in this psychological abyss that retention fails. Because without internal healing, the accumulated semen becomes pressure, not being able to. Trauma acts as an energy block, preventing vital energy from rising, transmuting, and illuminating. Every time you try to resist, trauma tightens. He reminds you, even unconsciously, that there is still an emotional hole expecting to be filled, and not knowing how, you run to old relief. Instant pleasure. The pattern of the wounded man is the most common and the most dangerous. It is the one who tries to discipline himself without understanding himself. Let it blame yourself for the relapse, but never wonder where the hole comes from. This man is always stuck between the attempt to become strong and the pain of not feeling enough. And as long as this pattern exists, no matter how many days it retains, energy will always escape at the most vulnerable moment. Retaining the semen without healing the mind is like trying to contain a dammed dam. The pressure grows until it breaks. But when you face trauma, when you look into your shadow, energy changes. Retention is no longer a weight and becomes a portal, a way to your spiritual, emotional, and vibrational reconstruction. The body does not lie. When your vital energy is being drained silently by unique pain, the reflection appears first in the mirror. The look loses its shine. The face becomes downcast, without light. The posture curs. The presence that previously imposed respect dissolves into invisible tiredness, but perceived by all. Testosterone falls, the focus disappears, and the mind goes into a state of chronic dispersion. All of this starts with a pain you didn't face. The constant loss of semen, driven by emotional impulses, creates a vibrational emptying cycle. Each relapse, however small, is an energy bleeding. The body reacts slowing down, the muscles respond with less firmness, and the physical disposition falls. It is as if the organism enters survival mode. No strength to advance, just trying to keep the basics working. And man begins to confuse this state of low vibration with normality. Even more serious is the collapse of silent self-esteem. The mind, without reinforcing seminal energy, loses its command structure. And man begins to procrastinate decisions, doubting himself, and accept less than he deserves. Insecurity appears not only in the gestures, but in the voice that fails, in the look it deflects, in the energy it shins. And even without saying anything, the world feels something is wrong. Magnetism, which is a language of the spirit, disappears. Men begin to ignore you. Women no longer feel their presence. You still exist, but it is invisible energetically, all because he ignored the pain that shouted inside, because it pretended that the emotional doesn't matter, because it treated retention as a technical, not as a cure. The good news is that the body also responds quickly to restoration. When the vital energy begins to return, and it only comes back when the pain is faced, the signs appear. The skin shines, the look hardens, the countenance gains sharpness. People notice, even if they don't know why. Silent respect returns. But it all starts when you understand that ignoring your pain is the same as destroying your magnetism. Healing does not start with a technique, but with a recognition. The pain you feel has a root, and ignore it only prolongs the cycle of weakness. Men who suffer in silence are those who most need a reintegration ritual, not just to their body, but to its energy essence. The first key is to admit, yes, I'm injured. Yes, I'm using masturbation to escape. Yes, my energy is stuck in the pain I avoided for years. From there, the true process of transmutation begins. You are about to access one of the most transformative knowledge of your spiritual journey. Alchemy of the Gods is not just a book. It's a deep activation map for your awakening. With teachings about Kundalini, crystalline oil, and spiritual liberation, this work reveals the hidden path that silent masters have taken to achieve true energy rule. If you feel there is something bigger on you asking to emerge, this book will deliver you the key. Available in physical, digital, and audiobook format, you choose how you want to access this ancestral wisdom. The link is in the description and also in the comment fixed. But first of all, I have a novelty that you didn't expect. My exclusive new audiobook, Semen Retention Success Path, is now available with over 2 hours of unheard of content about the 6 pillars of seminal retention. Here you will understand how to turn sexual energy into presence, focus, magnetism, and clarity of mission. This is the definitive guide for restoring your vital energy and breaking the self-sabotage cycle. What's more, when purchasing audiobook, you automatically receive 30% off the ebook, The Art of Semen Retention for Men, with 20 pages of advanced techniques for spiritual awakening, emotional balance, and activation of your life purpose. Be part of the internal circle. Become a channel member and have early access to exclusive content, priority responses, and other benefits that only members receive. Your participation keeps this knowledge alive and helps bring this message to more men who need to wake up now. Recognizing pain is the most masculine act that a man can do. And soon after comes spiritual discipline. Silence is not absence of sound, it is a presence of conscience. When you silence the external noise, social networks, pornography, distractions, you begin to hear what your body and soul have been trying to say for a long time. The discipline of physical training, deep reading, and silent prayer acts as a spiritual hammer, breaking the currents they kept you stuck to pain. Transmutation techniques are not complex. They are consistent. Start with cold baths, intermittent fasting, sacred reading, and deep breath. Avoid any visual sexual stimulus for at least 7 days. Use this period as an energetic grief for your I wounded. Then channel all this accumulated energy to something that expands its vibration. Create, build, serve. The focus is to get out of reactivity and enter the intentional action. You are no longer a man trying to resist the impulse. He is a man reconnected with his strength of origin. The spiritual restart happens the moment you feel the energy returning to the body. It is not just physical, it's like a lamp lights up inside. You start walking more erect, talking more firmly, feeling less need to prove something to others. Its presence becomes solid, unshakable. Because now your energy is no longer dripping through the inner wounds. It is being used to rebuild the man you were born to be. And it is at this point that seminal retention is no longer a challenge and becomes a lifestyle. Because you understand that you are protected. That is on mission. That is in reconstruction. And every man who faces his pain and remains firm even when she screams becomes a silent headlight in a world sunk in the noise of escape. Most men give up before feeling what really begins to happen after resistance. They do not see the invisible fruits of retention because they stop in the middle of the process, just when the soul begins to align with the body. But the one who can handle, even with pain, desire, or loneliness, enters a dimension that few know, the shield of spiritual presence. When you are still firm, even in silence, even when no one is seeing, your energy changes. The dark aura caused by pain begins to become a dense and vibrant light that protects it. It is not a visible light, it is felt. People look and don't know how to explain, but something has changed. The man who was invisible now attracts glances with silent magnetism. Its clean energy opens ways and at the same time repels everything that is not in alignment with its new frequency. Respect begins to return. But this time, it's not because you strive to be noticed. It's because you have become undeniable. The firmness in your gaze, the posture, the calm. All this conveys a force that only those who retain, overcome, and transmute it can carry. Women realize, men feel, the spirit world recognizes. It is the vibrational sign of a warrior who has won himself, and therefore can no longer be touched by small energies. The pain that once broke you has now become ammunition. Each night you held the impulse. Each morning you woke up with weight. but decided to continue. Each silent prayer made with a tight chest. All of this became fuel, and now no one else can break you, because the greatest pain has ever been faced, to live disconnected from yourself. And you came back. This is the fate of men who do not escape pain. An impossible presence to be ignored, an energy that does not bend, and a spirit that finally found peace in the domain of their own essence. There is a hidden truth that almost no one tells you. The pain you feel when it begins to retain is not a punishment. It is a sign that your body and soul are trying to reconnect. Every man who begins the path of retention without preparing the spirit ends up bumping into an invisible wall. Old trauma, repressed emotions, rooted fears. This pain does not arise by chance. It comes because the energy you are retaining needs space within you, and this space is busy by unique wounds. Seminal retention begins to clean the energy field, pushing to the surface all that was hidden: fear, anger, insecurity, sadness. Emotions that you tried to bury with momentary pleasures begin to reveal themselves. This is why many fall in the early days. It is not just physical desire. It is the soul resisting the cleaning process. But if you understand that, you surpass. This pain, in fact, is a thermometer of evolution. The deeper, the more sign that you are coming, where few have arrived. When you feel you are losing control, it is because you are starting to break the currents they kept in prison. The system fears this moment, because when a man supports the initial pain of energy purification and remains firm, he becomes impossible to manipulate. And something starts to change. You feel more clear. The body begins to align with a new frequency. Thoughts are no longer impulsive. Your presence gains weight. The pain becomes a transition. And after that, the true awakening begins. A new man is born, no longer moved by escape or desire, but by presence, purpose, and dominion. If you feel that your energy is disappearing, that your motivation is weakened, and your presence is slowly disappearing, perhaps the answer is something you have ignored too long: the silent pain that consumes your essence. This pain you hide is the same one that is draining your spiritual strength and moving you away from your true self. But now it's time to change that. Transmute pain in power. Get up with clarity, honor, and retention. If this message made sense to you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. And now, watch the next video. It may be the revelation that was missing for your transformation to start for real.